Welcome to Sweethearts or Rivals. I'm Charlotte.
I'm Justin.
What's on our table today?
Isle of Skye.
From Chieftain to King.
Or Laird.
If you read Outlander.
Yeah. Exactly.
So this game is a game that plays 2 to 5 players. It can take you about an hour, and they recommend you can play it with ages 8 and up.
Okay.
This copy is published by Mayfair Games.
Right on. Alright, so, Isle of Skye. What do you think of the components of Isle of Skye?
I actually think the components for Isle of Skye are good.
Especially considering it's a Mayfair game.
I don't know if you can say that, can you?
Well, it seems kind of mean to say that, but Mayfair's components tend to be a little shoddy sometimes.
Well, let's just compare it, say, to another one that we have.
Yeah.
Say Grand Austria Hotel.
Yes.
Where the cards were really disappointing.
Yep.
And our wooden components were...
Broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Missing pieces.
Yeah.
But in Isle of Skye, there are no cards.
Yep.
And the only wooden components are these markers.
True.
Now, in Grand Austria Hotel, just for a comparison again,
Mm-hmm.
the cardboard punches were excellent.
True.
And this is all cardboard punches.
Also true.
So, the components are good.
Good.
The cardboard is thick.
Yep.
These little things, I mean, this did fly off during the game, but I mean, it's not a big deal.
No, it works for what it's supposed to do.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I do like the art.
Yeah.
People, I think, complain about this man on the box is not very happy looking, but I don't think way back in those days, it was a hard life back then.
Yeah.
You're gonna look rough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think the art's perfect, actually.
I think this guy is looking like that because he's like, what? We're scoring sheep in the 4th round? I can score sheep now!
Really?
Yeah. That's what I think.
I'll just put that guy he's talking about.
Yeah.
That one right there. Yeah.
I can't believe we're scoring sheep 4th!
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the quality of the components is really good.
It is.
Even like the money, the cardboard is really good. There's a good chits.
And the money's huge. Like that
Yeah.
10 is humongous.
Which is awesome.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I find it comical. You think it's awesome. But
Yeah.
anyway.
I don't like little tiny pieces of money.
Not tiny, but
Yeah.
I mean, the
Yep.
2s and the 1s are perfect.
There you go.
The 5s and the 10s are getting a little bit funny.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Anyway. I think it's cool, though, that the player characters, they name them all Scottish names.
Yep, that's neat.
So, strategy, tactics, and luck.
This is a very interesting blend. Every game has a random setup of what is going to get scored in each round with these tiles. And there are quite a few of them. For example, we've played this many times and we've never had the let's score 1 point per sheep tile ever come out.
Which is like one of the easiest scoring things ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that randomness is going to really set up any kind of strategy and tactics you have for the rest of the game because that is random. But that's very cool for replayability.
Yes.
Yep. As soon as they come out, you can tell, okay, throughout the entire game, each one of them will score twice, but the order in which they score is really going to dictate what kind of strategy you have. And then the fact that all of the tiles that come out each round for each player are random as well.
Right.
But then you get a lot of tactical, strategic play of the whole bidding war.
Yeah, how that works is
Yeah.
very interesting.
And I'm not usually a fan of any kind of auction bidding mechanic.
Yeah.
But the way that this one gets set up is awesome. Because you can do things like, I'm going to put this one cheap because I want them to buy it, and I'm going to put this one really expensive because I don't want them to buy it, or maybe that's what I want them to think, and then they're going to buy the expensive one, which is going to make me lots of money.
Right.
Ha ha ha. Like, just
And then
all the decisions.
The whole axe, too.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I know this. I know he really needs this for his village.
I don't need it.
I don't need it. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Like, see you later.
So there's a ton of like really, really in-depth decisions in that one little mechanism of just like, what do I do?
Yeah.
And then there's nothing more agonizing of looking at your tiles and looking at the other player's tiles and going, I don't want any of those. I want to keep all of mine.
Yeah.
And trying to make that happen is difficult. So there's a lot of all of it.
Yeah.
But because so much of it gets set up randomly, there's a lot of it is very adaptive tactical play.
Yeah, and I find most of the game really is what you do behind your screen.
Yeah.
I mean, the tile lane, yeah, it's part of the game because it's part of scoring, but that's kind of secondary.
Yeah.
Like when I think of Isle of Skye, the first mechanic that does come to mind is not tile lane.
Yeah.
Because of the auction bidding
Yeah.
strategic planning with this to accomplish this.
Yeah. Plus, once you're placing your tiles, nobody can mess with you placing your tiles. It's a very individual game. But the auction is totally like, what do they have? What do they have? What do I have? What are they trying to score?
What do I need?
What do we score in this round?
What do I want to keep away from them? Yeah.
Very interactive and passive-aggressive kind of...
Joyous fun.
Yeah, joyous fun. There we go. That's a good way to put it. All right. So that's the strategery. What about the complexity?
Well, it's one of those games where it's very easy to learn, but difficult to master. It's one of those games.
Yeah, a lot of hidden depth.
Right. Because, I mean, you're going to do that. You get to draw 3 tiles. You're going to put an axe for 1. You're going to set the price for the other 2. You're going to reveal. You're going to buy a tile from someone.
Yeah.
And then you're going to get your tile and place them. So, I mean, it's really an easy concept to grasp. But the complexity comes in maneuvering your tiles and using your tactics to do those mind games so you get the tiles you want.
Yeah.
So you can place them in your village how you need them to get the points.
Yeah.
And then it's also like, if you watch the playthrough, you'll see that like these 2 are kind of difficult to get right at the beginning. Maybe not this one so much, but the lake one, we're having troubles.
Yeah.
And it's like you almost have to like think, maybe I'm just going to forget about points for the first couple of rounds, which seems like kind of not a good strategy.
Yeah.
But play for the long game.
Yeah. And as you go in the rounds, if you can hold your scoring back a little bit, you can gain a lot of extra money in these rounds as bonuses.
True.
Yeah. So that last round where you got a ton of money and already had a bunch of money and I didn't, it allows you to get 3 extra tiles. Yeah, and that was a lot of points.
Yeah.
Yeah. So lots of stuff like that. Lots of the mind games.
Yes, because I had actually fallen quite far behind you.
Yeah.
And you'll notice that I'm only 4 points ahead in the end.
Yep.
So usually the scores are, well, they're usually either close or like you've got a runaway leader probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Also with the gameplay, the 2-player game works really, really well. But it does change those mind games and the complexity when you add more players.
It does.
Yeah.
I think I probably prefer this game as a 2-player. I don't know if that's... I actually haven't heard anybody say, but I really, really like this game as a 2-player game.
Yep. It's 2-player back and forth very, very quick. Yeah.
I mean, I like it okay with more players.
Yep.
But I find it's more interesting with 2 for some reason. I don't know why that is. I can't even think my reasoning.
I would look at it as because it's 2-player and the mind games are just between me and you. We can get into them more. Whereas as soon as you add multiple players, those mind games become infinitely more complex.
I guess you play it more tactically.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we played it once with the full complement, which was 5, I think. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, when you've got 4 other screens to look at and try to decide to just buy 1 tile, yeah, you have to play it tactically.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, there's this many tiles. Which one's he gonna axe? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna axe this one. I wonder how I can wangle my way into getting like 3 tiles this round, kind of thing.
As soon as you add more players, there's too many minds for the mind games.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing too is as soon as you add a whole bunch more players, maybe I'll buy one of Charlotte's tiles, and then somebody else will buy her other tile, and then suddenly the number of tiles that people get and don't get
mismatched.
can mismatch.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So there's a little bit more to that as well.
Yeah, and if they didn't save enough money,
Yeah.
then they have no tiles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which would really
tricky.
So, yeah, I find it works almost best as a 2-player game.
Mm-hmm.
But it's probably because it's me and you playing.
Maybe.
All right.
Okay, so what about the playability?
The playabilities. The mechanics versus the theme. It's an interesting theme, and it's very cool with you placing down your tiles, and the landforms need to match, but the roads don't. And if you can connect whiskey barrels to your castle, you get more income. So that makes sense. Mm-hmm. The rest of it doesn't really follow a theme much, because it's just a kind of a bidding and auction. And it doesn't really make sense that you would bid and auction off parcels of land?
Yeah, it kind of does.
I suppose. We've already talked about how it scales with the number of players. In terms of like game length and that kind of stuff, adding more players doesn't add a ton of extra time, which is nice. It's only the adding of more players, which adds more minds, that makes it much more difficult to play those mind games, that changes the game. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, as I said before, I find it much more enjoyable as a 2-player game than more players.
Yeah.
As for the replayability, because of the fact that these 4 tiles, and there's lots of them, are going to be different every single game, and even if you got this exact same 4 tiles, if they came out in a different order, changes the game completely.
It's true.
The replayability of Isle of Skye is through the roof, which is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a huge bag of tiles, too.
Yeah. Quite a few. So that's a lot of tiles, especially if you're only playing a 2-player game.
I forgot to mention the quality of that bag.
Oh, yeah.
That's a high-quality bag. I should have mentioned that in the component section.
And usually
bags are not high quality.
Yeah.
It's actually a nice bag.
Way to go. Nice. So, does Isle of Skye have the awesomeness or the cuteness?
Well, the art is nice, and I find it goes nicely with the theme of the game. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, is he cute?
Scoring sheep in the last round, why? He's very upset.
I think it's more awesome than cute.
Yeah.
I have to say. Even though it's a nice looking game.
Yeah.
It's not overly cute.
And I find the awesomeness comes in with the mind games. Mm. Like, you totally went for that, and now I get the tile I want. Ha ha ha. Yeah.
Yeah, it's satisfying. Yeah. So if you have a game group looking for a game, who would you recommend Isle of Skye to?
This is a good game for people who are looking for kind of a midweight game that's easy to learn, who they like to place tiles in their games. But they also are looking for a lot of mind game interaction.
Mm-hmm. I'd also say if you like the kind of games that have a lot of variable setups.
Yeah.
And a lot of different goals that will change your gameplay each time.
Yep, absolutely.
This is another good game for that kind of group.
And because of the randomness of these tiles, the randomness of their placement for when they're scoring, the randomness of the tiles coming out here, plus the added chaos of what everyone's trying to do with those mind games, you have to be a very tactical player. Yes, there is strategy because you need to look ahead, like, I'm going to need sheep for that final scoring a couple rounds down. Mm-hmm. But in order to get there, you need to be playing very tactically.
That's true.
Yeah. So that's the kind of game group you should be looking for. And then again, what we said before, which was very well said, very easy to learn, very difficult to master. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
And those are the kind of games that we kind of gravitate towards anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every time we play, you learn something new, or you get a little bit better at something through the gameplay. We enjoy that quite a bit. So, are we going to trade or keep Isle of Skye? We are going to.
I'm keeping it.
Yeah.
I can't see us trading this one.
This is such a keeper.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah. Quick to set up, easy to play, just bang, 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 and then just having fun. Mm-hmm. And very satisfying mind games. Mm-hmm. Keeper!
Keeper.
Do we finish the game as Sweethearts or Rivals? We finish this as Rivals!
There can be only one.
So, very rivalry game.
For sure.
Yeah. And I think a big part of that is the mind games. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because you are trying to mess
and it's the axe. Yeah. I mean, I just love looking over at your city or village or whatever.
Territory.
Hillside.
Yeah.
And, I know he's really going to want this one. And it's an axe. I mean, you're chopping. Chop, chop, chop.
It's gone!
Rivals.
Yeah, very rivalry.
It's awesome.
Yep. So, that is Isle of Skye, from Chieftain to King, or Laird.
Laird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Thanks a lot.
We'll see you in the next video.
Laters. Rivals.
There can
Totally.
be only one.
Yes. That was a really good quote. I can't believe I didn't come up with that quote. I'm very disappointed. We need to reshoot that scene right now. I need to be the one that says that.
I was holding it in.
Yes.
I
Definitely.
wanted to also say rivals with a great big Scottish accent, but I can't pull that off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without insulting some people.
Really? It would be insulting?
Maybe. Some people get insulted when you try to do their accent and can't do it very well.
Oh, okay.
And I don't mean you specifically. I mean people like in general. Yeah.
Okay, because, yeah, me specifically, I can't do an accent at all. Except for Canadian, which I'm told I have one, and I don't hear it, so whatever.
Can't believe I didn't say that!